Welcome back. A spring snowstorm that snarled the morning commute today for people in Colorado is winding down, but the cleanup is far from over. Denver picked up 3 to 6 inches of snow, 1 to 2 feet in the mountains. Freeze warnings are in effect across much of the state tonight, meaning roads could still be unsafe. Right now, 2 hikers are badly hurt after a bear attack at Yellowstone National Park. It happened right near Old Faithful Monday. It's not clear what kind of bears were involved or how many. Yellowstone is home to both grizzly bears and the more docile black bears we see in Connecticut. It's a good reminder to stay bear aware even at home. Put away those bird feeders, secure your trash, and don't get close to bears if you see them. New tonight, researchers in Louisiana say the state's vanishing coastline has crossed a point of no return. Scientists at Tulane University are calling for the relocation of entire coastal communities like New Orleans. They say rising sea levels could leave the city underwater by the end of next century. A new study in Nature Sustainability points to an ancient shoreline north of the city as evidence that history is about to repeat itself.
The conditions that back then led to ice sheets melting and raising global sea level by, about 20 feet, they have already happened. So that means we are very likely locked in for that to play out in our future.
Local businesses are pushing back, calling the study an irresponsible academic eulogy. They say Louisiana should invest in infrastructure and policy, not plan for abandonment.